Why video and why now? I've been a corporate headshot photographer for about 10 years. Yes, before they were trendy. In that time, I've gotten really good at posing and lighting my clients, as well as making them generally feel comfortable on camera. For a number of reasons, I've decided it was time to expand. So now I'm offering video services. And in this video, I'll cover my experience with adding video to my business as a still photographer. In some sense, I have YouTube to thank for my business evolution. We'll cover my YouTube history and how it set me up for video. Then I'll talk about why Canon has made sense for my work and some of my first impressions of the Canon cinema line. Then I'll talk about some obstacles that I've encountered and resources that have helped me get up and running. So let's jump in. Prior to 2020, I had made the occasional YouTube video and could barely watch them back. Yeah, they were pretty rough. There's a saying in YouTube that your first few videos will suck. So true. But you still have to make them to get better. And about the time of the pandemic, I had just started thinking more about my channel and made yet another push to get into YouTube. This time, I finally got some traction. Since then, YouTube has really become an important aspect of my business. Am I making millions from YouTube? No, but every little video I make adds credibility to me and my business. And clients take note. You might have heard podcasters say how their fans feel like they're all best friends. Every video or piece of audio is building a relationship. It's a long game. In short, my own YouTube video journey has proved just how critical video marketing is in a small business. For years, I wasn't really interested in providing video services for my clients. Basically, I didn't have the time. My headshot clients have kept me more than busy, and for that, I am thankful. But things change, and as business owners and creatives, we have to keep evolving. As I record this video, I'm well into the process of ramping up video offerings for my clients and looking for ways to reach a new client base. What about headshots? I still love doing headshots, but to grow as a business, it's important to keep evolving. A few years ago, the last thing I wanted to do was hire someone to work with me or for me. That's one of the reasons I left the corporate world. But I'm coming around fast. I switched to Canon in around 2022 with the R6. It was a perfect camera for a headshot business. Of course, a fantastic stills camera, and it was quite capable for video too. So video, for me, became very accessible at that point. I could dip my toe into video without a huge time investment. Then, as talk of Canon's cinema line caught my attention, I started to take a little more notice and give video a little more thought. Then they released the hybrid RF lenses, and the message was clear. Canon was betting the farm on the RF mount, and their whole lineup, video and still cameras, would use it. As of this recording, we have the 24-105, the 70-200, and a handful of primes, all designed with video in mind. The R6 Mark II, my headshot workhorse camera, had become a very solid option in video, along with the R5, the R5C, and the R3. In late 2024, the new Canon C400 and C80s arrived. That was my signal to jump. The world of video gets complex quickly. With at least 24 frames a second all the time and sound to deal with, things get complicated. But the overlap in the Canon menus has made that transition a little more doable. Once I got the basics down, the value of a true cinema camera was quickly apparent. I thought my R6 Mark II was just as capable as a video camera. Aside from maybe an ND filter, I was fine. But wow, using the cinema cameras is a whole new experience. It's just the right tool for the job. Designed for video first, of course. There are so many sacrifices you make when using a mirrorless still camera for video. Does it work? Yeah, but the workflow and experience is just infinitely better with a video first camera. And as a professional, I'm all about having the right tools for the job. And for making corporate interview videos, for example, a cinema camera was clearly the right tool. Even with the right tools, you still have a learning curve. When it comes to editing, for example, I had been using Final Cut for YouTube, and it's great. But for some reason, I thought that I needed to learn Resolve while at the same time figuring out the cameras. Big mistake. Learn to edit or learn a camera. Don't try to learn them both at the same time. I would also say that the Canon codecs are pretty confusing. Canon is maybe too generous in the number of codec options in the menus. These make for nice fancy tables in the manuals and the websites, but there's very little practical advice on what to use when from Canon or anyone else. I did find, however, though, that the Canon Masterclass program has a pretty good little summary. It's the best I've found so far. Looking back, when getting the hang of these cameras, I was worried about getting everything right. Composition, sound, color, white balance, etc. A better approach, as even ChatGPT told me, would be to pick a skill and practice it in isolation. So, to practice camera movements, for example, forget the audio, forget about shooting in 4K, log, or anything else. Just pick a basic HD setting, practice moving the camera. Most of your shots will suck anyway, and they won't suck any less in 4K, they'll just take up more space on your computer. And your dogs won't mind either way. But your kids will judge you regardless, so just keep practicing. Audio is another world for me. As a still photographer, audio never mattered. In video, audio matters a lot. Maybe even more than the particulars of the image. So be ready to be overwhelmed. But it's doable. Thankfully, lighting has not been a problem for me. As a photographer, a studio photographer, I can light a face. With video, you have to give a little more thought to the ambient light, but light is light. And if you're decent with a couple of studio strobes, you'll be fine. My aperture lights have been a joy to work with. I can even use them with my headshot work now. The gear for still photography adds up. Video gear takes that to a new level. While I jumped in with the cameras, some lens upgrades, which I do use in my headshot work, a video tripod, a shotgun mic, some cables, I'm not trying to buy much else until there's a specific need. My general goal is to be nimble and work with a small crew or even solo. Adding tons of gear won't help. Based on the projects I've done so far, I'm working on a gear shortlist. Monitors are near the top. Now, the stock monitors on the C80 or C400 are pretty good, but there are tons of options when you add additional external monitors. And you have to know why you need one. Will it be on the camera? If so, where? How will it be mounted? Will it be powered? What size? All those sorts of things. Or there are monitors for the set so a client can see what's happening and not look over your shoulder. These are basically like 15-inch computer screens, which require another set of decisions on mounting, power, cabling, etc. Well, I've got the basics down of the Canon cinema cameras. The latest generation, specifically the C80 and the C400, are incredibly versatile when it comes to connectivity. The networking capabilities are amazing. So many options. Yet there's very little help out there to wade through the menus. It's not that much different on the still side either, unfortunately. So I would challenge Canon to step up with some more YouTube content on how to leverage the full capabilities of these cameras. Video production and filmmaking is a team sport. You will need help. There are a lot of good lessons on YouTube, but I tend to like long-form courses for learning new disciplines. For example, you can find videos on how to do anything in Photoshop, but going through a more comprehensive program adds so much more context. You'll learn the whys, not just the hows of your particular challenge that day. For Canon specifically, I've found the Canon Masterclass program to be a good practical overview with the cameras, and it includes some basic filmmaking instruction. It'll really get you started. For more community and a more comprehensive training program, check out the Art of Documentary. These guys are working filmmakers and have built a good-sized community throughout the world. Their programs do approach things from a documentary point of view, but everything still applies to what I'm trying to do, so don't let the documentary angle scare you. And don't forget ChatGPT. It'll make lesson plans like crazy. Ask it to make you a study guide with assignments. The hard part is actually doing them all. What's next? Well, with some solid corporate video work under my belt thus far, there's always more to learn. Learning video at my own pace has been a lot of fun, and I don't see it letting up anytime soon. Be sure to subscribe to keep an eye on my journey, and let me know in the comments if there's something you'd like to hear more about. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.